everybody, welcome to Tempest Books. I'm Rebecca and today we are looking at our very first author mail. Now I got this a couple of weeks ago but I didn't realise what was in it when I opened it, so this is more just a discussion on the amazing mail I got. And it is awesome mail because here be dragons. Now this is from author Michael R. Miller and it is the Songs of Chaos series. So hang on. Got book 3, book 2, book 1, and our novella. Now how these books came to me is a bit of a saga, but I'll give you the short version. I spent about 6 months trying to get a hold of these books. Because I live in such a remote area, like as in, it is an island at nearly the bottom of the world. People come to my island as the last stop for Antarctica, or they just come to the state to study and work specifically with the southern continent because that's how far down we are. Now, because of that, it is so difficult for me to get a hold of any books that aren't traditionally published or aren't in one of the mainstream big names of each genre. So I spent many months haunting various book websites in the hopes that they would have a copy that they would A, not charge me my firstborn for, and B, actually ship down to me. And I was unsuccessful for many months until suddenly one website offered 2 of the books and another one offered 1. So they were print-on-demand books. And when they got here, they were technically readable, but for me, not. They were an odd shape and they were quite painful to hold, and several of the parts of each one were misprinted or misaligned. And I had basically a stress meltdown every time I tried to read them. So I've already published a video on my channel about my autism and about how reading physical books is affected by it and how it affects me in general, and why it is that I need physical books and how that's tied into my autism. So having spent so many months looking for the books only to finally get them to be basically unable to read them was extremely upsetting. Now, when I first started looking for the books, one of my Discord friends said I should get in touch with the author, Michael R. Miller, because he was apparently very active in the bookish community. He was often very open to talking to content creators, and at first I didn't want to because it felt like my channel hadn't looked at fantasy books at all yet, and so it didn't feel right to reach out to him. But after not being able to get readable copies, I did reach out in the hopes that he would be able to tell me if there were any stores that he had in Australia or even this hemisphere that were selling his books that perhaps hadn't advertised them online. And unfortunately, it was not the case. He wasn't able to help me in that regard. As an indie author, there was just nowhere in my area or hemisphere that carried his books. So he said he'd send them to me. And I'm, pardon? Are you sure? But yes, he just sent them to me. I was astounded and amazed that he would go to that length and that effort for someone who is basically a little tiny nobody at the bottom of the world with a very small channel who hasn't even done fantasy books yet. Although again, it is in my plans. So these books arrived and I did a happy dance around my kitchen. Amazing, wonderful, beautiful books that I can actually hold, that I can read, that I can cope with. And it was an amazing gesture and I will definitely never forget it. I was so excited to find out that that's what he was going to do. And then when the books arrived, the novella was with them as well. That was extremely surprising. And in honor of the fact that they are so amazing, I'm making a dragon shelf. There are actually 2 dragon books that are coming out in the next month for me that I'll be reading as well. I'm going to make a dragon TBR, essentially. I think June will be Dragon Month. I'm excited to keep reading this book. I was able to get about halfway through the first book before I could just simply no longer cope with reading that copy. And so I've got the other half of book 1. Oh wait, that's book 3. The other half of book 1 to get through, and then I will get to the rest and I will be reviewing them on the channel, and I definitely hope that this will be the beginning of me looking at more than just my monster books. I definitely want to get into reviewing my fantasy books. Like I said, big old section, I think goes to all the way there. That's all fantasy books. It goes nearly to the roof. And above and beyond the awesome author, the books are astounding. I absolutely have adored what I've read of the first one, and I can't wait to continue. All right, guys. See you next time.